Shalom, shalom to the brethren. What up to everybody else? This is your op, Brandon Lewis, and you are podcast where we search the scriptures, looking for ways to apply them to life, that we might become perfect.
Live from the 713. 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 I always felt like I was out of place. In junior high, I swear they thought I was from outer space. The butt of every joke, I swear I saved a lot of face. I played a lot of face, I played a lot of pop. Shed tears when MTV reported he was shot. The second time, the doctors report flat lines, and it was ill, bet the whole world could feel the shock. I would've given right leg to be in his spot, and limp a mile in his shoes, but in your socks. One at the top, major fame was my ambition. A broken heart, major pain was my ammunition. Weighing my fragile life on invisible scales, looking for heaven,
trapped in an invisible hell. Illiterate the king's writings, I was under the spell of Satan. Yeah, that's D-E-V-I-L, I'm learning.
Meanwhile, the second hand on the quartz is turning. That white dust in that flask on the stove is burning. I saw them boys rocked up, some saying when locked up. I was in church every day, every read the sermon. That's my older brother saw tears from grandmother when cops brought me home when they searched but couldn't uncover the pot that would have had me in hot water. Just a young lion in the jungle with no father but plenty worries. Like how can I get it the fastest? Cause success is looking past this. The dope boys of my pastors told me get off the block, be a ball player, a rapper. And I ain't want to see the casket. So I started making baskets. But even if I hit J's to get paid, in society's eyes, I'm just a young black bastard. A fatherless child under pressure with pipe dreams. Get it a bus, I'm off of fame and nice things. This dude in the mirror telling me ball out. Even if I fall out, it's the nemesis I'm fighting. This world told me I was king. Then told me look but don't touch. I guess it wasn't what it seemed. I'm caught up in this gold rush. Live from the 713. Live from the 713. Live from the 713. Live from
Shalom, my brothers, my sisters. The Father woke us up while we were still statistics. They say we might go ballistic, throw us in the district. They treat us animalistic, the bias is implicit. Handcuffs next to the rolling round our flashy wrists. Ain't no Ruach HaKodesh when they come to convict us. Honor the Father and the Son, never no soul invictus. Top of the day, stroking my beard, combing through the scriptures for a witness. Me and my homie might be from the homie. Kingdom of Jews, Queen Nazinga had probably sold me. Said it to show myself approved, it's proven lies they told me. Things we learned in Egypt, following ungodly edicts. All seeing eye on the back of that dollar, that's a fetus. That's a demon, he brought us back from it, now we even. Martin and Malcolm could have never saved us. The Messiah coming back for the house of Jacob. What?
Israel!
Around here, women shake their body for some crypto. Young King say he blood covered, still a crypto. Sipping dirty water from the tap, drinking out our hand, poisoning our food. Gotta cut up olive for our skin. He said that shall not have any other guys. Oh, but of course the true one living can't be Hellenized. The Messiah spoke Hebrew to the Greeks, and without him the Most High God cannot speak. Why? Cause he the word. Passover roasted with bitter herbs. Heavenly host, the sun is shining upon the earth. I see you and me in recovery from a curse. No more poverty, dollars used to get worshipped on the first. Hating our blood for our own kind. From the mud, our sandwiches filled with cold swine. Tree on my Timbs hung my ancestors' bottom line. Freemasonry babies, hand gestures are not my sign. My code iconic, your honor wrote it on sapphire. His redemption like a pension for the backslider. Who repented, walking in the image of Messiah. The world you say he loved, he coming to set it on fire. Israel, Israel.
Yeah. What up? What up? What up? Shalom, shalom to the brethren. What up to everybody else? This is Yahweh Brandon Lewis, and this is the Script Talk Podcast. I know I've been missing out on the radio, man. Y'all got to excuse me. 8 o'clock in the Boker is a little rough sometimes on your brother, and it's hard to get I got plenty of episodes. It's hard to get them uploaded ahead of time and all of that, man. So once we able to get that straightened out to where I could upload any show I got to start at any time, that's when you'll have consistent content, and you'll never miss a show. But anyway, I'm here for you today, man. I hired my people, and I want y'all to get these messages. So I'm here for you today. I'm up, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, as they say. And we're here to talk about always our people and their dealings with the Most High Yah and the Creator of the heavens and the earth, the seas, and everything in them. I know I forget that when I say, the Creator of the heavens and earth, but you should already know. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be something that you're waiting on me to say. You ought to know. It should go without saying, as they say. Right? So today we're going to be talking about Josephus's account of King Saul's reign and his fall. Now, as a lot of you know, I do a lot of different studies. I got a lot of different shows and podcasts. We got the Script Talk podcast. We got the Scripture Study. In the past, I've had Mark 67 podcast. I've had the Chop Up podcast. I've even had Yah's Word on the Street podcast, which is a news podcast, which I hope to bring out, but man, your brother's so busy. Your brother is so busy. My podcast is not funded like others, with help and, donations and all of that. But if you would like, if you should also have a wheel in you to send me some shekels. I'm gonna put this up on the screen for you. Donations, you go to Cash App, B Lewis 573. That's Cash App, B Lewis 573. PayPal, B Lewis 3649 at gmail.com. That's my email, by the way. Venmo, it's at Brandon Lewis 535. That's at Brandon Lewis 535. 6-3-5. If you can do it, man, you know what I'm saying? I ain't tripping. I'm still gonna do what I gotta do when I gotta do it. And but hey, we love we like the kind that jingles, but we love the kind that folds. You know what I'm talking about. So, Josephus. Oh yeah, hit that like button, man. I don't know what you're doing with yourselves, but it don't cost you nothing to hit that like button. It don't cost you nothing to comment and subscribe. We're trying to get this word out to the people. Trying to get this word out to the people, and so that somebody might be edified and helped. You never know what a person is going through. You never know what a person needs to hear. I just want to make sure that I'm up on the radio. I am live streaming also in Truth Music Radio. That's music with a Z, because the Z is for Zion. If you ain't got it, go and get the app. The Truth Music Radio app. It's in your Play stores. It's in your app stores. It's also on the internet, truthmusicradio.com. It's also a channel on YouTube, Truth Music Radio. Go check it out, man. You know, shout out to everybody over there. Yasharala Nation, Moshe, Sis, Ray Chantel, Haish, the real, uh, hands behind the scenes, Jay Shields. Shout out to him. That brother doing all kind of stuff. Mixtapes, magazines, and you know, award shows. Shout out to the brother, man. So anyway, let's get on into this Josephus. Now, a lot of us know about King Saul and his problems he had with King David. We also know that part of his problems he had was he was being attacked by spirits, right? And he needed David, young David, to come play the harp for him. Well, he was attacked by spirits because he disobeyed the Most High. The Most High told him to do certain things, and he did not do it. Also, Prophet Samuel told him to do certain things, and he did not do it. And he disobeyed, and he was punished for disobeying. Which the point of this lesson is we must always do exactly as the Most High says, exactly as we are told to do. If there's any leeway in what he says to do, he will tell us. He will give us options. If he didn't give us options, then we ain't got none. All right, that's what we need to understand this rising. So let's get right on into it. For all of those of you watching this now, we have people listening on the radio. We also have people watching on YouTube and on Facebook. That is the Life of an Israelite on YouTube and on Facebook. Also on my personal Facebook page, Brandon Lewis. I'm also going to put a link to the YouTube in the chat group. So if you're in the chat group for Truth Music Radio on Facebook, I'm about to put the link in there for you. So, all right, let's get this going, man. Your brother's long-winded, this book. This lesson is coming out of Josephus, Antiquities of the Jews. Right? It is a book. It is a PDF that can be found on the internet. So we're starting at book 6, chapter 6 is where we are starting at for any of you wanting to follow along. All right, book 6, chapter 6. Let's get it blowed up for you on the screen zine. Shout out to everybody joining us this Boca. What up? Get on in here. Hit that like button. We got viewers. We ain't got likes. Don't rob your brother of his likes and his subscription. Hold on real quick. I gotta share this to the chat group. I'm getting it. The Truth Music Family Facebook chat group. If you ain't in it, you missing out. Get with my sis Ray Chantel. She'll get you added in there, I'm sure. Jay Shields, get you added in there, I'm sure. But yeah, the link is in the chat group now. All right, here we go. Chapter 6, how the Philistines made another expedition against the Hebrews and were beaten. Now Saul chose out of the multitude about 3,000 men and took 2,000 of them to be guards of his own body and abode in the city of Bethel. But he gave the rest of them to Jonathan his son to be the guards of his body and sent him to Gibeah. I'm having some tongue twisting problems this morning. Sent him to Gibeah, where he besieged and took a certain garrison of the Philistines not far from Gilgal. For the Philistines of Gibeah had beaten the Jews and taken their weapons away and put garrisons into the strongest places of the country, and had forbidden them to carry any instrument of iron, or at all to make use of any iron in any case whatsoever. And on account of this prohibition, it was that the husbandmen, if they had occasion to sharpen any of their tools, it were it whether it were the coulter or spade or any instrument of husbandry, they came to the Philistines to do it. Now, as soon as the Philistines heard of this slaughter of their garrison, they were in a rage about it. And looking on this contempt as a terrible affront offered them, they made war against the Jews with 300,000 footmen and 30,000 chariots and 6,000 horses. And they pitched their camp in the city of Michmash. When Saul, the king of the Hebrews, was informed of this, he went down to the city of Gilgal and made proclamation over all the country that they should try to regain their liberty, and called them to war against the Philistines, diminishing their forces, despising them as not very considerable, and is not so great, but they might hazard a battle with them. But when the people about Saul observed how numerous the Philistines were, they were under a great consternation, and some of them hid themselves in caves and in dens underground, but a greater part fled into the land beyond Jordan, which belonged to Gad and Reuben. All right. In case, man. All right. In case you don't know, Saul has just recently become king, right? The Hebrews are in an ongoing deal with the Philistines, right? They're starting to fight back against the Philistines. It hasn't been happening for a long time, right? So now King Saul's whole mission, free your people from the Philistines. So now they're starting to get more into battle, starting to get more into war. Now, when the Philistines learn that the Hebrews are trying to get weapons made, right? They like, hold on, y'all trying to fight? So they come against them with a great army, right? And it's hold on, let's see here. Diminishing their forces, despising them as not very considerable and so great, but they might hazard a battle with them. But when the people observed how numerous the Philistines were, they were under a great consternation. They started getting sad. They started getting scared because the Philistines came with such a great army, which is what happens with a lot of us. But we have to understand Yah's will. Yah's will is that his people be freed from under this. And he also brings us up against great trials so that we could overcome them, right? And our people have always had this problem. We see this in every instance in the wilderness, right? Coming out of Egypt. They had a great task in front of them. They had been promised great things. And in the midst of acquiring those things, they came up against great trials and great tribulations. And those who were faint hearted always fall. But those who trust in the Most High, even in the hard times, those are the ones who are uplifted. Those are the ones who survive. And this is the kind of a situation they find themselves in. Even King Saul is feeling kind of off about it. So here he is. He calls Samuel, who does trust in the Most High and who speaks with the Most High, to find out what's going on. Why are we losing these battles? But Saul sent to the prophet and called him to consult him about the war, and and public affairs. So he commanded him to stay there for him and to prepare sacrifices, for he would come to him within 7 days, that they might offer sacrifices on the seventh day and might then join battle with their enemies. So he waited, as the prophet sent to him to do, yet did not he, however, observe the command that was given him. But when he saw that the prophet tarried longer than he expected, and that he was deserted by the soldiers, he took the sacrifices and offered them. When he heard that Samuel was come, he went out to meet him. But the prophet said he had not done well in disobeying the injunctions he had sent to him, and had not stayed till his coming, which being appointed according to the will of the Most High, he had prevented him in offering up those prayers. Now, this is very important. Saul was given instructions to wait, so he waited. But when things went longer than what he expected them to go, he stopped waiting and proceeded to do what he wanted to do anyway. This is what happens with a lot of us when we're supposed to be waiting something out to see what the Most High would do. You know, we tend to do it our own way. Well, since you ain't said nothing, I'm just going to do this because you must want me to do this. This is what Saul figured. He figured he was doing a good work. I'm offering sacrifices to the Most High. What's wrong with that? A lot of us doing it today. A lot of us doing it in feast days and all this stuff. We offering sacrifices. What's wrong with it? Well, I tell you what's wrong with it. That's not what I told you to do. That's what. Hey, that's the whole thing. Husbands talking to their wives all the time. She's like, I did this. I thought you'd like it. No, I told you to do it like this. I didn't tell you to do it your way. I gave you a way to do it. Why are you doing it your own way? And this, brothers and sisters, although feelings and emotions come into play, and you say, oh, he tried. Oh, he just wanted to do right by the Most High. That's what people say. My heart tells me, you know, my feelings tell me that this is the right way. Well, is that what you was instructed to do? In any sort of way were you instructed to do that? And most oftentimes we weren't in any sort of way instructed to do that. You know, And this is what King Saul did. For those of you that know King Saul's story, you know this don't end well. You know, his thinking to do what he felt like doing caused him to fall. So things written aforetime was written for our learning. We need to see this story, listen to this story, this Boca, and understand that we can't do what we want to do, how we want to do it, when it is against or not according to the instructions of the Most High. Am I what? Yeah. Starting over. But the prophet said he had not done well in disobeying the injunctions he had sent to him, and had not stayed till his coming, which being appointed according to the will of the Most High, he had prevented him in offering up those prayers and those sacrifices that he should have made for the multitude. And this is the thing. We think because we're doing this good thing, we think the Most High is going to hear us. We think he going to understand. Had an elder tell me, we can talked about this several times, about I don't want to turn people, but just about observing certain things in scripture, right? For those of you that know what I'm talking about, you can understand. Observing certain things in scripture, how it was according to certain instructions we do these things. Today, we can't do none of them instructions. The Most High made it to where we can't do none of the instructions he gave. And not in the land. We ain't got no Levites. We ain't got no priests. We ain't got none of this to do this stuff. How he instructed, like like Samuel told Saul, this is how you do it at this time with me, a priest and a prophet, when I get back. You do it with me. He said, no, I can't because you ain't here. So I'm going to do it like this. And we see punishment. We think we returning to the Most High Yah. We going to return to his instructions, right? Like I said, laws, statutes, and commandments. All of those are instructions. And we said, well, we ain't going to do it like that. We going to do it like this because we can't do it like that. And for some reason, it never comes into our mind that we can't do it like that because they don't want us to. I'm saying, maybe we can't do it like that because he don't want us doing it. Go home, but the door locked and you can't get in. What sense that make for me to tell you to go home? In my mind, I said I'm going home. In my mind, I heard, I got a home. I need to go home. No, you can't go home. I didn't give you a key. Did I give you a key to go home? You know what I'm saying? If when the Most High tell you to go, he gonna give you the keys so you can get in, so you can do it how he said do it. Because if he didn't give you the keys to do it, then he would be wrong. And we know the Most High is just. He's not gonna be wrong. He's not gonna judge wrongly. So come on, man. We gotta be real, man. We gotta be real. We gotta bring these things into our remembrance. We gotta repent for wrongdoing, man. He thought his offerings was gonna be a quote unquote blessing, when it was actually a reproach. He thought his doing what he thought was right for the Most High was gonna be a blessing, but it was a reproach. It was Isaiah 1. Do away with. I don't like your solemn assemblies. I don't like your feast days. I don't like your Shabbats. I don't like none of your stuff because you're doing it amiss. I'm just saying, man, that thing weighty. That thing is weighty. You know what I'm saying? Let's go back up here. That thing, listen, a lot of meat on that bone. Shout out to Elder Yehowadah. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of meat on that bone. He had prevented him in offering up those prayers and those sacrifices that he should have made for the multitude, and that he thereafter had performed divine offices in an ill manner. Listen, this is a charge. This is a sin. Not just that you didn't follow instructions. Say, you took something quote unquote holy or kadash and divine. He said, you took divine offices in an ill manner. Who told you to make that sacrifice? Are you a Kohan? Are you a priest? Were you ordained? You a Levi? Who told you to do this? I didn't even look. I wouldn't even plan on going into this kind of message. I was saying this thing got deeper than even I thought. And therefore, he therefore had performed divine offices in an ill manner and had been rash in performing them. Hereupon Saul made an apology for himself and said, he's sorry. He's sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean, my bad. Let's see how that worked out for him. Hereupon Saul had made an apology for himself and said that he had waited as many days as Samuel had appointed him, that he had been so quick in offering his sacrifices upon account of the necessity he said, I needed to. I had a good reason for not doing what you said. Imagine that. Do we talk like that? Do we talk like that? I know that it said keep the feast like this. Here, do this in the feast. Do that in the feast. I know when it said to build a tabernacle, you build it like this and with this type of wood and with that type of wood. Now, I ain't gonna do none of that because I can't. And I got necessity to do it my way. I'm just saying, hey, listen, take it how you want to take it. Do what the thing said. Hereupon, Saul made an apology for himself and said that he had waited as many days as Samuel had appointed him, that he had been so quick in offering the sacrifices upon account of the necessity he was in, and because his soldiers were departing from him out of their fear of the enemy's camp at Michmash. Guess what he said? Now he could find some kind of courage. Say, listen, these people scared and running off. I'm not scared. I'm not running. I'm here. And I'm trying to do right. Even though I ain't doing what you said. You know what I'm saying? Even though. It's just, that's like people trying to diminish the fact that they hurt you in some sort of way. I hurt you because I lied, because I didn't listen, brethren. We ought not to be like this. And the sad part about it, the majority of us have done this. Matter of fact, most of us, if you've ever called yourself keeping a feast day in America, you've done it. If you've ever called yourself keeping the feast of the tabernacles without making the tabernacles, well, for one, even if you had the right wood, you still didn't do it in the places that do it in. You going outside the instructions. You know what they say? We rehearsing the righteous acts. And I just say where he told you to do that pertaining to the feast. And those people was in the land. They just had other lands to take. All of that was theirs. All of it was theirs. They wouldn't keep, when they did that, they wasn't in nobody else's. They was in theirs. And they had the priests with them. You got the priests with you? Do you got Levites? Sons of Aaron with you? You know what they said? We got some Haitians. We had some Haitians come down from the woods. Hey man, listen, man, stop it. Just stop it. We're not gonna even get into all that. But you gotta stop. Michmash, the report being gone abroad that they were coming down upon him of Gilgal. To which Samuel replied, here goes Samuel. Saul been talking. He been giving all his reasons why. Telling this why I didn't do what you said, because of this, because of that. Listen to what Samuel said to him. He said, nay, no. Certainly, if thou hadst been a righteous man and hadst not disobeyed me, nor slighted. Oh, I just found out I'm going in and out on Facebook. So let's take a pause and play some music so I can find out what's going on my stream. Let's play The Watchers by Chief Elite. And shout out to Chief Elite, by the way. I just got turned on to Chief, man. The brother is real lyrical, man. Listen to this brother's lyrics, man. He on point. Anyway, The Watchers, Chief Elite. I'll be right back.
It's the Watchers, the Watchers. Watchers, the Watchers. The Watchers, the Watchers. The Watchers, the Watchers. Eye to eye contact, non-verbal contracts. If exchange numbers save me under while he on that. In this war zone, prepare to shoot. When you spawn matches, best to quick, cause we want all the smoke. Get your arm patch. When you see these prayer hands, it ain't come from arm tats. You barking up the wrong tree, messing with the wrong cats. Book it down, you lift my spirits up, but I ain't on check. Went through the hurdles to relay the message. Now we on track, on point when bullshit occurred. Don't trust the John Packs. Women do anything to get a ring, like LeBron stats. The wicked hearts of men got me on max. If it's spade for spade, they cutthroat with every scar scratch. Truth to be told, can't be sold. Trying to pawn facts, laying other free, but the long tax. Mobilized front that was built off our strong backs. How you gon' see the bigger issue? All the small chats. Stand up guys in the building, case they fall flat. Clear cut and dry. Put my feelings in the wall cracks. Increasing with the gospel, not the long slacks. Who gon' sharpen iron when the strong lacks? It's the Watchers, the Watchers. 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 It's the Watchers. It's the Watchers. I see everybody watching. 4-1, 4-2, 40 yard can't clock us. Young boy in the jungle knocking down some squashes. You a good actor, but you need a better plot hit. Direct the point, you in the wrong direction. See, you don't get the point, so no need to proceed, cause you don't get the message. You going off a track, it's gonna be a lesson. Headed down the wrong road, change of course gonna be a blessing. Watch us, your pasta turn to pasta when I rock you. Pull a Bible out and get the cutting like Baraka. A Mortal Kombat went down in the heavens, fallen angels didn't listen. Revelation 12, just to be Pacific. Hebrews carrying the torch, just like Olympics. We the chosen people, tie up your shoes, you're tripping. Doing everything everybody do. Are you really different? Unsolved mysteries, our identity is really missing. Tracing back our steps, no pen or pencil. It's the Watchers. Watchers. Watchers, the Watchers. Watchers, the Watchers. Watchers, the Watchers. Watchers, the Watchers. Hey, Watchers, the Watchers. It's the Watchers. Seeking you shall find. The blind leading the blind gets real. See, if it's a Yah's will for me to be aligned with duty calls, it ain't easy to decline. No baby reaching for a bottle. It's a reason for this wine. I kind of admit the faith of a mustard seed don't come from highs. Kept up, told the devil he can't deceive me from behind. We ain't patrons, got them salty, mixed tequila with the lime. 10 toes in the trenches, and I'm knee deep in the grind. It's a concrete jungle gorilla swinging from the vine. Got me feeling like I'm Saul while I'm cheaping on some pine. Clutch a pole on the low, get anemic with the iron. Been baking in the furnace, wasn't heating up the swine. Uncle Sam getting over something we can undermine. They be cleaning out the poor, filthy rich to be a crime. How it's up and it's stuck, but my people in decline. On the road to redemption, and I'm peeping every sign like a watch. Watch, 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 watch.
All right. I've been told that it's been corrected. Hold on a second. How's it now? How's it now? Is it any kind of choppiness or whatever on my people in the comments? Shout out to Cindy Smith. Shout out to Sis Sapar Yasharala. Shout out to Tubi Yahoo. Shout out to Maisha Uriah Yasharal Yahoo. All right, all praises. Let's get back into this thing. I hope y'all have not missed anything, man. It was a lot of heat being dropped. That's crazy if that was missed. A lot of meat on that thing, man. So shout out to Sister Edlin. She's in the building as well. All praises. Shout out to everybody watching live and everybody listening live on the radio. I hope y'all have heard me fine. I hope everybody heard me fine. All of this is meant for a reason. Now it's back messing up. Oh man. I mean, I'm on the same internet I'm always on. Let me turn off some of these Wi-Fi's and everything. That's crazy. All right, Edlin. They say it's cool, babe. Um, I don't know what to do. All right. Everybody's listening. Everybody can hear something. I'm gonna continue on. Where were we? Okay, Saul is finally getting to speak. I mean, Samuel is finally speaking to Saul after Saul giving all the reasons he didn't listen, all the reasons he went against what Samuel told him, right? He says, nay, certainly, if thou hadst been a righteous man and hadst not disobeyed me, nor slighted the commands which the Most High suggested to me concerning the present state of affairs, and hadst not acted more hastily than the present circumstances require, thou wouldst have been permitted to reign a long time. Hey, he ain't expect that conversation. He thinking he gonna, and that be what it is. We be thinking we got something good coming because we did it for a good reason. It's like, no, I didn't tell you to do that. Now what you would have had in abundance, now I got to take it from you. And that's we ain't got much to lose today, brethren. We ain't got no kingship to lose. We ain't got, enough to go back to zero. A lot of us at zero already. And man, so listen, thou wouldest, that mean you not now. That's bad news. Thou wouldest have been permitted to reign a long time, and thy posterity after thee. So that means your son ain't gonna reign. That's bad. So Samuel, being grieved at what happened, returned home. But Saul came to the city of Gibeah with his son Jonathan, having only 600 men with him. He started out with 5,000, didn't he? Or was it 3,000? Either way, he ain't got nothing now because of scarcity of iron in that country, as well as of those that could make such weapons. For as we showed a little before, the Philistines had not suffered them to have such iron work or such workmen. Oh, that's yeah. See, they weren't allowed to make weapons, just like us today. White people can have machines to make bullets. Ex-army soldiers and all that. They making their own bullets. Do you know somebody black that make their own bullets? I'm just saying. Do you know somebody? And if you do, hit my inbox. We gotta talk to them. Now, the Philistines divided their army into 3 companies and took as many Hebrews and laid waste the country of the Hebrews. While King Saul and his son Jonathan saw what was done, but were not able to defend the land, having no more than 600 men with them. But as he and his son and Abiah, the high priest, who was of the prosperity of Eli, the high priest, were sitting upon a pretty high hill and seeing the land laid waste, they were mightily disturbed at it. And this is where we see Saul seeing what his actions caused. They were they were originally supposed to been making sacrifices so that they could win the war. Samuel said, we're going to make the sacrifices. We're going to do it this way at this time when I get back. Because he took longer than Saul thought he should have took. Saul said, well, I'm going to go ahead and offer the sacrifices myself. Now, these sacrifices was to help them win the battle. Because Saul did what he did, they lost the battle, and he got to watch his people being destroyed. And in his mind, he got to know this is all my fault. We might get, because of our hard-headedness of moving like Saul, not following instructions, we might get to sit on a high hill and look and observe our destruction and know it's because we didn't follow instructions. My brothers and my sisters, I don't want you to be this person. I don't want to be this person. So we need to read this and take this to heart, to always be mindful to do exactly as we are instructed and to not do any more and surely not do any less. Right? Because as we see and as we know of Saul's story, he only gets worse. This gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse until David take over. Because his disobedience, he keep disobeying after this. The man deteriorates into nothing. Whereas the chapter before this, he was the sweetest man. He was honorable. You know, he was upright. Everybody loved him. He was great. When he did this, he was never the same again. His disobedience was the abomination. You ain't gonna believe what it did. Caused desolation until he was destroyed. There we go. But as he and his son and Abiah, the high priest, who was of the prosperity of Eli, the high priest, were sitting upon a pretty high hill and seeing the land laid waste, they were mightily disturbed at it. Now Saul's son agreed with his armor bearer that they would go privately to the enemy's camp and make a tumult and a disturbance among them. And when the armor bearer had readily promised to follow him whithersoever he would lead him, though he should be obliged to die in the attempt, Jonathan made use of the young man's assistance and descended from the hill and went to their enemies. Now the enemy's camp was upon a precipice which had 3 tops and ended in a small but sharp and long extremity, while there was a rock that surrounded them, like lines made to prevent the attacks of an enemy. There it so happened that the outguards of the camp were neglected because of the security that there arose from the situation of the place, and because they thought it altogether impossible not only to ascend up to the camp on that quarter, but so much as to come near it. As soon, therefore, as they camped to camp, now, as soon as they came to the camp, Jonathan encouraged his armor bearer and said to him, "Let us attack our enemies. And if, when they see us, they bid us come up to them, take that for a signal of victory. But if they say nothing, as not intending to invite us to come up, let us return back again." Now, we need to be mindful of the Most High's desire. It's above any person. You know, his desire is that Yasharal should be saved. His desire was that they would have a kingdom, that they would have an upright king, and that from that upright king would come the lineage of his son, right? So Saul messed up. Saul is out of there. You know what I'm saying? He's been told he's out of there, but this enemy, they was gonna win the battle anyway. That's what we're not understanding. They was going to, at the end of it, be exalted. But because of that, they had to suffer a loss. Just like David, he messed up. You know, you had a baby with this woman, and that baby's done. But y'all gonna have another baby, and that baby gonna be upright, right? King Solomon. So our disobedience, our transgressions is really pointless. We the only ones that's gonna lose, and maybe those that we love might lose because of what we've done. But y'all's will is gonna go forward anyway. Anyway, so we need not think we helping him. You know, if anything, Saul should have prayed and asked for a sign of what to do instead of just going and doing it. We got to look at this stuff, man, and really bring these scriptures to life and see how we could be just as evil as Saul by being disobedient, by doing a thing our own way instead of the way in which the the Most High would have us to be and do it. So here we got Jonathan, having heart, having zeal, you know, to move forward. And here he is moving forward after suffering such a heartache. Notice his daddy's not moving. You know what I'm saying? His daddy's heartbroken behind what he just witnessed. He witnessed his punishment for what he did. His son ain't really in that same mindset. His son is, well, let's not cry over spilt milk. Let's go take care of this business. You know, uh, it said, let us attack our enemies, and if when they see us, they bid us to come up to them, take that for a signal of victory. But if they say nothing, as not intending to invite us to come up, let us return back again. See, he's looking for a sign before he make action. He's saying if they say come up, that's a sign from Yah. We gonna do it. But if they don't, we ain't gonna do it. Saul ain't look for no sign. He just did it. So when they were approaching to the enemy's camp just after break of day, and the Philistines saw them, they said to one another, the Hebrews come out of their dens and caves. And they said to Jonathan and to his armor bearer, come up, ascend up to us, that we may inflict a just punishment upon you for your rash attempt upon us. So Saul's son accepted that invitation as what signified to him victory, and he immediately came out of the place whence they were seen by their enemies. So he changed his place and came to the rock, which had none to guard it, because of its own strength. From thence they crept up with great labor and difficulty, and so far overcame by force the nature of the place till they were able to fight with their enemies. So they fell upon them as they were asleep, and slew about 20 of them, and thereby filled them with disorder and surprise, insomuch that some of them threw away their entire armor and fled. But the greatest part, not knowing one another, because they were of different nations, suspected one another to be enemies, for they did not imagine that there were only two of the Hebrews that came up. So they fought one against another, and some of them died in the battle, and some, as they were flying away, were thrown down from the rock headlong. See, y'all be moving, and y'all gives the esteem to another. He'll give your esteem to another. The esteem you were supposed to have because you was disobedient, because you did what you weren't supposed to do. The honor you were supposed to get, he'll give it to somebody else. The honor will go from the firstborn to the second. We see that. We see that. We see that with the covenant. We see that with a lot of different things in scripture. You don't want to act right? Okay, well, yeah. Like he said, I will cause them to be jealous by a nation that is not a nation, by a people who is not a people. What is a foolish nation? You know, you don't want to act right. Anyway, now Saul's watchman told the king that the camp of the Philistines was in confusion. When he inquired whether anybody was gone away from the army, and when he heard that his son and with him his armor bearer were absent, he bade the high priest take the garments of his high priesthood and prophesied to him what success they should have, who said that they should get the victory and prevail against their enemies. Why ain't he asked this man, should he go and do this sacrifice before he did it? You see how sense come late? Sense come late. Now he won't, now he want to seek the most high. Now he want prophecy. He didn't look for no prophecy before he went offered them sacrifices. We got to be careful, people. Got to be careful. So he went out after the Philistines and set upon them as they were slaying one another. Those also who had fled to dens and caves, upon hearing that Saul was gaining a victory, came running to him. When therefore the number of the Hebrews that came to Saul amounted to about 10,000, he pursued the enemy, who were scattered all over the country. But then he fell into an action which was a very unhappy one, and liable to be very much blamed for, whether out of ignorance or whether out of joy for a victory gained so strangely. For it frequently happened that persons so fortunate are not then able to use their reason consistently. And this is what we got to be mindful of right here. It's saying what happens next. It said it might have happened because things started going so well for him after going so bad. And he said usually when things start going so well for people, they usually don't consider, it said, are not then able to use their reason consistently. That means they become unmindful. That means they lose track of what's important. They lose reason of good and evil. They fail to separate the Kodash and the profane, the holy and the wicked. And they just start doing stuff because they happy. And this is why it said in scripture, don't make me too rich lest I forget thee. I'm paraphrasing. Don't make me too rich lest I forget thee, or, sin against thee. Don't make me too poor lest I steal. Let's make it just right. Because if things go too good for a person, they could mess up. If things go too bad for a person, they could mess up. So keep it just right. So This heightened emotion, they said, is what probably caused Saul to make this mistake he's about to make. It said, as he was desirous to avenge himself and to exact a due punishment of the Philistines, he denounced a curse upon the Hebrews that if anyone put a stop to his slaughter of the enemy and fell on eating and left off the slaughter or the pursuit before the night came on and them oblige them so to do, he should be accursed. They are fighting the Philistines. They winning, but they still have more to do. To where Saul yells out, if anybody stop fighting, if anybody stop chasing them, right? If anybody leave off from the slaughter, right? It says, if anyone put a stop to his slaughter of the enemy and fell on eating and left off the slaughter of or the pursuit before the night came on, he said, listen, pretty much nobody could eat. Nobody could eat until nightfall. We're going to fight these people. We're going to handle this business. Nobody could eat. Right? He pronounced a curse on anybody. You see what I'm saying? Not a judgment, a curse. It said, oblige them so to do, he should be cursed. Now, after Saul had denounced this curse, since they were now in a wood belonging to the tribe of Ephraim, which was thick and full of bees, Saul's son, who did not hear his father denounce that curse, nor bear of the approbation the multitude gave to it, broke off a piece of a honeycomb and ate of it. But in the meantime, he was informed with what a curse his father had forbidden them to taste anything before sun setting. So he left off eating and said his father had not done well in this prohibition, because had they taken some food, they had pursued the enemy with greater rigor and alacrity, and had both taken and slain many more of their enemies. Jonathan said, "Man, that's crazy. We need to eat. If we eat, we get more energy and we go fight even stronger." But this is what Josephus spoke of, about how when things are going too well, people don't reason, people don't think, or they don't think accurately. And this is why we have to be mindful. That's why we have to be sober minded. That's why the scriptures say, be ye sober minded. It is said a person can be drunk, but not with wine. You could be drunk with power. You could be drunk with lust. You could be drunk with envy. You could be drunk with emotion. This is what Saul was. He was drunk with emotion, and it made him say things he never shouldn't have said. You ever been drunk and said some stuff you shouldn't have said? He wasn't drunk with wine, and he said some stuff he shouldn't have said. He was drunk with emotion, and then cursed his son. Ain't even realize it. That's a penalty of death. Now he's saying anybody that do this is supposed to die. Verse 4. When therefore they had slain about 10,000 of the Philistines, they fell upon spoiling the camp of the Philistines, but not till late in the evening. They also took a great deal of prey and cattle and killed them and ate them with their blood. We're not supposed to eat blood. We're supposed to drain the animal blood. We're supposed to cook the blood out, all of that. They took a great deal of prey and cattle and killed them and ate them with their blood. You see how there's no order, there's no leadership, there's no consideration once you've already started going astray. That's why you see people in the walk that leave the walk. They didn't just leave the walk all of a sudden. They had left the walk way before they finally left. That's why we got to analyze our brothers and sisters and and be watchful of them and make sure they not on this path of being destroyed, going into desolation, because the fall is a long fall that starts before time, right? He's king for years after this, but he's already slowly being destroyed already. See, this is why we got to be mindful, man. We got to be mindful. We got to be diligent. Got to be sober minded and understand, understand the scriptures, understand what should be and what shouldn't be, so that we can be better helpers to each other, right? And save each other from the fire. And not be mindful of position. See, Saul is to a point where only certain people could tell him something because he's a king. Ain't no regular Joe Blow off the street gonna tell me you tripping, you're going off against the Most High. No, you finna go to prison and get killed. That's why we supposed to have the mindset of being brothers and brethren and not being above, reproach, being able to hear sound reason. It's a lot of people. Y'all know people in these offices. They mores, they leaders, they bishops and all this. You as a regular person, you can't come tell them nothing. And and they listen to you. People not trying to listen to no sound reason. You got to be of equal status to them. And if ain't nobody else telling it to them, they sure ain't finna hear it from you. And that is to their own destruction. That's why we supposed to be known by the ahab we have for one another. And if you got a heart for somebody or love for somebody, you're going to listen to them. You're going to listen to sound reason. You're going to seek for knowledge wherever it can be found, even if it's from somebody you don't consider to be on your level. And look within yourself and see if it's true or not. And truth be told, he needed to hear a rebuke. He needed to hear something to get him back on track. But instead of reason, all he getting is judgment. When somebody talk to him, it's gonna be like, you done messed up. This what you gonna get because you messed up. Not you messed up. You know, let's repent. Let's do better. No. By the time he find out the news, it's judgment time. We ought not to be. We got to learn from this, brother. We got to learn from this. I am on Truth Music Radio. Let's play one more song. Let's see what we got here. Shout out to my sis Nakaya Brown. This is Tribal Noise. I'll be right back.
Freedom blowing in the wind. See the shackles breaking off from within. Feel the water raging all over my skin. My soul about to break free. Took a cold from the throne, touched my tongue. Told me not to fear the old or the young. Speak my words and I will tell them when to come. Who will go for me? Who will go for me? Yeah. Who will go for me? When you spread your hands out to me, reach with the root of access to me, and I will lead them down to the valley. Great city will divide in three. Oh, Babylon, I remember thee. Tell all the mountains and the islands flee.
Hey yo, I ain't gonna lie. Them drums on that song get me every time. Between my sister singing and them drums, hey, I'm like, this song got to be 6 minutes long. You know what I'm saying? It's really only like 4. It need to be about 6 or 7 minutes long. I could take them drums all day. Let's get back into it. The people eating blood, man. It said they also took a great deal of prey and cattle and killed them and ate them with their blood. This was told to the king by the scribes, that the multitude were sinning against the Most High as they sacrificed and were eating before the blood was well washed away and the flesh was made clean. Now, this could be due to the fact that they was hungry. They had been fighting, and Saul told them they couldn't eat. So by the time the battle was over with, they so ready to eat, they eat before it's time to eat. Right? They tried to drain it, right? It said, and were eating before the blood was well washed away. So they tried. You see, here we go again. People fail into follow instructions because of their own will. They said, well, we drained the blood. We tried. We just was hungry cause King Saul told us we couldn't eat until the sun went down. Now we ready to eat. See, you always got a reason for why you're going against instruction. And you got to stop. You're going to pay for it. They're gonna pay for it. When you strike the head, the body gonna fall. So when Saul fall, what you think gonna happen to his people? He's the head. They asked for a head. Let this be our head. Give us a king like the other nations. Look what your king doing. Your king out here slipping. Got y'all slipping. That's why you got to be careful whom you choose to let reign over you. Be careful whom you let be your moray. Be careful whom you let be your pastor, because these are the people you are putting in a position to give you instruction, to give you guidance. Are they capable of doing it well and doing it rightly? Be careful. Those whom you lend yourself, whom you are a slave, servant. Watch yourself now. Then did Saul give order that a great stone should be rolled into the midst of them, and he made proclamation that they should kill their sacrifices upon it and not feed upon the flesh with the blood, for that was not acceptable to the Most High. And when all the people did as the king commanded, Saul erected an altar and offered burnt offerings upon it to the Most High. That was the first altar that Saul built. You see how he's being made so irreverent that he didn't made this decree that these people can't eat. when the battle was over, he's supposed to have been the first one handing out instructions on what to do. I know y'all hungry. This is what we do. You tell them to roll out the stone first. Like, why are you letting these people, leaving these people to their own devices? This is why you don't go against the Most High, because he'll make you dumb and dull. He'll make you lose a sound mind and make you lose sound reason. I bet you know some people that was once in the truth and now they done left, and now it's like you don't even know these people no more. Like, they ain't got good sense now. That's what happens. Same thing happened to Saul. These people is being slowly destroyed. Right? They waxing worse and worse. And this is why. So when Saul was desirous of leading his men to the enemy's camp before it was day in order to plunder it, and when the soldiers were not unwilling to follow him, but indeed showed great readiness to do as he commanded them, the king called Ayatub, the high priest, and enjoined him to know of the Most High whether he would grant them the favor and permission to go against the enemy's camps in order to destroy those that were in it. And when the priest said that the Most High would not give any answer, he's not talking to you, man. That's what he said. I don't want to hear your prayers. I don't want your sacrifices. I don't want nothing to do with you when you are amiss. He's supposed, well, technically, if he was upright, he's supposed to brought judgment on all them people that ate blood. I can't remember what the judgment was for eating blood in animals. It might have been death. I'm not 100% sure. It could have been something else. But if he was upright, he's supposed to brought judgment. But he wasn't upright. It's his fault they did it. He didn't give instruction. He didn't lead properly. So who gets the judgment? You know? It's rough, man. This is a rough story to have to read and have to tell, because it's just not going to end well, and hindsight is 2020. But when they were going into this, it all seemed like a good idea. It seemed like a good idea for him to sacrifice them animals before he was supposed to. And in a way he was not supposed to. It seemed like a good idea. It seemed like a good idea for them people to eat that meat before it was ready to be eaten. It seemed like a good idea. But it wasn't. Yeah, it truly wasn't. Ask yourself, are you doing stuff that seems like a good idea, but it's not? I'm just saying. Only you and the Most High know that. It says, and when the priest said that the Most High did not give any answer, Saul replied, and not without some cause does the Most High refuse to answer what we inquire of him. While yet a little while ago he declared to us all that we desired beforehand, and even prevented us in his answer. It's a man. It's a reason. It's like, I get it. I know why he ain't answering. But listen, it's too late to be wise now. Don't be wise later. Be wise at the first. Be wise at the first, brethren. Learn from this. To be sure, hold on. I need to put this thing down. I'm trying to get my mouse together. Pardon me. Okay, there we go. To be sure, there is some sin against him that is concealed from us. Wow. Wow. There is some sin against him, against the Most High, that is concealed from us. Look, Paul said, these things we've done, it be not hid. If it be hid, it be hid from them who are lost. Why can't you see what you've done to the Most High? Because you lost. You out of there. And this is a very, very dangerous place to be in, brethren, that we have no consciousness of wrongdoing. This is the place he's in. He said, it got to be a reason that he ain't answering us, because he used to answer us. And, some sin is concealed. No, it ain't concealed. Nigga. You just can't see it because you lost. And this is very, very dangerous. This is sad right here, because many of us might know people that just is constantly contrary to scripture. And these people presumably is supposed to know scripture. And it's like, how don't you know that what you doing is wrong? It's very, very, very dangerous. Very, very dangerous place to be in. Because it didn't get no better for Saul. Is it going to get any better for these people? Can we warn them out? We should try to warn them out. But if we can't warn them out, maybe they doomed for destruction. Like Paul said, some vessels are made for honor. Some vessels are made for dishonor. And this is some stuff people don't want to hear. It's a hard, grievous thing to hear. Now, then you got people like David that even though they sin, even though they transgress, they honest heart towards the Most High Yah, and they true zealousness for him, their true zealousness to please him and to be like him is going to save them through all troubles and all travail. So ask yourself, you going to be like Saul or you going to be like David? I'm telling you, you better be like you better do more than dance like him. You know what I'm talking about? You better be like him. To be sure, there is some sin against him that is concealed from us, which is the occasion of his silence. Like maybe your people eat meat with blood in it. Maybe you offering a sacrifice when you didn't have no business. He said, now I swear by him himself that thought he that had committed this sin should prove to be my own son Jonathan. Now he want a finger point. I know why he ain't talking to us. It's Jonathan. It's Jonathan's fault for eating the honeycomb when I said don't eat. Forget about the fact because you told people don't eat, that's what made the people eat the meat with blood in it. Forget about the fact because you didn't offer the offering you had no business offering, your people didn't lost the battle, which made this other battle have to take place the way it took place, how it took place. All of this is your fault, but it's Jonathan's fault. See, that show you, man. When you get into this sin, man, a person has you can't trust people that are in this position with the Most High, that they done sinned against them and now they just won't get right. You can't trust these people. This man finna blame his own son rather than blame himself, rather than take accountability for himself. He finna put it on his own son. These people dangerous, man. Hey, listen, you better be careful this Boca and hereafter. You better know you can't trust these people. Inviting them into your house. This is my brother, this is my sister, you can't trust a reprobate. Ain't nothing they won't do. So when he was asked by his father what sin he had been guilty of, like I should be asking you, but what sin he had been guilty of and what he was conscious of in the course of his life that might be esteemed instances of guilt or profaneness. Man, listen, man. I know hindsight 2020, but listen, man. Jonathan have to be respectful. Not only is this your father, this is the king. And his office as a king is higher than his office as your father. So it's like, I gotta be careful how I talk to this man. But come on, you serious? Not only is he asking, what have I done? The man said, in the course, what the man said? It said, what sin had he been guilty of and what he was conscious of in the course of his life? man, have you done anything since you was a baby that might make might make the Most High not deal with us? Like, what have you done? Like, man, if you don't stop, this is crazy. This is the mindset of a reprobate. That man said, have you conscious of doing anything your whole life that might make the Most High be against us? Man, stop it. Here go Jonathan. His answer was this: "Oh, Father, I have done nothing more than that yesterday, without knowing of the curse and oath thou hadst denounced. While I was in pursuit of the enemy, I tasted of a honeycomb. But Saul sware that he would slay him, and preferred the observation of his oath before all the ties of birth and of nature." Now, now you want to be honorable. Now you want to be holier than thou. Now you want to be, when it comes to to throwing the blame off of you and putting it on somebody else. Now you're gonna stand the course. Now, see, this is the difference between him and a David. True enough, when David was doing what he was doing, he didn't realize his error. But when it was brought forth to him, he said, "Yeah, you know what? That's me. I sure did that thing. I did that. Yeah." Yeah, he was drunk. He was drunk for a time. He was drunk with lust and passion. Said, man, Bathsheba was the most beautiful woman in the land. So if you gonna slip behind somebody, you best slip before the best. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. If you're gonna do it with the best. Most women have said it. Most women be like, "You gonna cheat on me? You gonna cheat with me with that ugly girl?" Listen, you cheat on her with the most beautiful woman in the land, she'll kind of understand a little bit. Like, yeah, make a little sense. I don't like it, but if you're gonna do it big. You know what I'm talking about? David did it big. So you see the where David was remorseful in pleading for forgiveness. Whereas King Saul was negligent and dismissive of his actions and wanting to point the blame at others. We got to be mindful to be like David in these actions. Go read, what is that? Is that Psalms 91 or whatever, where almost the whole psalm is him talking about how he's nothing and how the Most High is everything. I'm like, man, King David had a unified 12 tribes at the height of power. Granted, Solomon got to enjoy a peaceful reign. He didn't really have to do no fighting with no great losses going on. Saul's reign was kind of like a honeymoon. All right. But Most High speak about all the jewels and all the treasures and all the fine things that he gave to us as a nation, which he called his wife. When he speak about that, I believe that was Solomon's reign. He's like, I gave you everything. I gave you the best of this, the best. That was Solomon's reign. David's reign was the reign of power and of this what it is. That's what David did. David went in, it said David laid waste all his enemies. That's why Solomon had a peaceful reign. He had no enemies to fight. Everybody was like, we not messing with them people. He subdued everybody. How America got all these, you have to pay taxes and all this. David had everybody paying taxes under him. Right? And it's like he got that because he had the mind. It said he was a man after Yah's own heart. We hear that phrase, but I don't think we know what that means, really. Now, it does mean he sought to please, which most people would say, that's what that means. He sought to please. He was after his heart. He wanted to make the Most High happy. It also means, to me, what I get is that he sought to manifest the Most High in the earth in everything that he did. That's why he moved how he moved. He moved with power. He moved with authority. That's why Hamashiach was meant to be from his lineage because he's going to come in that same mindset. He even spoke it and said, I don't do nothing that my father don't want me to do. I'm paraphrasing. You know, as my father am, so am I. That's basically what David could say in every regard except on the account with Uriah. It says that. He was faithful in everything except on the account of Uriah. We see those characteristics as opposed to a man like Saul, who don't want to take accountability for nothing, who's moving outside of his instruction. David moved outside of the instruction one time with the tabernacle. And well, hold on. I don't know if it was his fault or if it was the men fault that tried to touch it or whatever, and he died. But he went and found out the way. You see what I'm saying? He went and saw. It was always about wanting to do it how the Most High said and not outside of it. When something happened that was outside of it, his mindset was, let's find out what y'all want. Not let me continue on doing it my way. Let's find out what y'all want. And if he was righteous because of that mind, we got to have that mind too. Everybody in the scriptures that was thought to be righteous because of something, we got to look for that. That's what this podcast is about. This podcast is about going and finding these instances, finding these scriptures, bringing them out, showing them how they could apply to us today, and we should be venturing to be that way. There's many other podcasts out there that talk about a variety of different things. This is what we talk about here, where we search the scriptures that we might become perfect. Hey, listen, in case you don't know, let's talk about it. Shalom, shalom to the brethren. What up to everybody else? This is your op, Brandon Lewis. And you are now about to get into the Script Talk podcast. Where we do what? Where we search the scriptures. For what? Looking for ways to apply them to life. To do what? That we might become perfect. That's right. That's what it's all about, eh? Hey, you know what? All praise. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. All right, let's get back into it. Oh, Father, I have done nothing more than that yesterday without knowing of the curse and the oath thou hadst denounced while I was in pursuit of the enemy. I tasted of a honeycomb, but Saul sware that he would slay him and prefer the observation of his oath before all the ties of birth and of nature. And Jonathan was not dismayed. Shout out to Jonathan. And they're like, okay, you know, just like the little girl. When her daddy swore he was going to kill anything that came out his door, he spoke with emotion. And his emotion caused him to not have good sense because he had just won a battle. Why are you talking like this? Why would you say? Why you want to sacrifice somebody in your house? It's dumb, really. But when his little girl came out and he told her what happened, she was not dismayed. She said, Father, keep your oath. Keep your oath. You got to kill me, kill me. It's fine. You know, and Jonathan got the same mind. Isaac had the same mind with Abraham. He said, man, tie me tight. You know, tie me down tight so I don't move. That's in Jasher, by the way, where he said to tie me down tight so I don't move. You know what I'm saying? He's like, oh, it's cool. I understand. It's all right. Look at Jonathan. Jonathan was not dismayed at this threatening of death, but offering himself to it generously and undauntedly, he said, nor do I desire you, Father, to spare me. Death will be to me very acceptable when it proceeds from thy piety and thy glorious or esteemed victory. For it is the greatest consolation to me that I leave the Hebrews victorious over the Philistines. Listen to our people. If we could have the mind of Jonathan, the mind of a David, this captivity would be over. But the enemy has sought to destroy this kind of a mindset in the men of this nation. right? I know I got a lot of sisters listening to my podcast, right? And this is not to diminish you. But if the men of our nation had this mindset, you would reap the benefits of that, right? If the men was valiant, if the men was zealous, if the men was upright, how much easier would your lives be, right? Whether a man in your life as your counterpart, you know, lover, husband, or as one who would just aid you because it's the right thing to do. He'd come spend time with the children. He'll come fix what needs to be fixed around the house. Come cut the grass because it needs to be cut. Come do whatever, right? Because that's just what an upright man would do for a fellow member of his nation. So this whole thing about women's pride and women's rights and all this stuff, man, is really fruitless without the men. It's really pointless. We live in a time where our nation, the Negro nation, right, has the most liberated women on the planet, but yet we are the most distraught nation on the planet. We are the most unethical, ununified, un un unprosperous uh 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 uniformly in the world. Meaning it's people that got stuff, but they got stuff in accordance with either abusing their own people or with compromising themselves and their people for the benefit of the other nation. Sellouts, basically, is what you call them. So this liberation of women really don't help without the liberation of the man. And not only his liberation, it ain't about just taking a poor man and giving him power and giving him money and funds. No, it's about giving him knowledge, understanding, wisdom, discipline, right? That's what he has to have in order to even maintain any power and money that you might give him. What is a fool gonna do with power and money besides abuse it? As we see what happened with Saul in a way. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's what we got to start looking at. We got to start looking at rebuilding the 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 men of this nation. That's been my ministry, speaking to the men mostly. Here and there, I speak to the sisters, but it's mostly been to the men because it's shown me. The scriptures have shown me that that's the key. That's where it's at. By and large, the sisters really, if the men was upright, the women would naturally go with it because the women would naturally follow, right? But it's this spirit, it's this mindset of the sisters can be separate of the men that brings in the discord, that brings in the craziness. Now, granted, it's a lot of crazy men out there. It's a lot of crazy men unworthy of any kind of reverence, unworthy of any kind of submissiveness, right? But this is due to the deterioration of their morality and their principles and them being properly taught by other men, right? So this is a breach in the wall of our nation. And we can't think we secured, oh, we this, we that, and we got a hole in the wall. We ain't secured with a hole in the wall, brethren. Can't nobody beat us. We got a hole in the wall. And that hole is meant for someone to come through it, for the enemy to creep through. And when they creep through, they're going to destroy us from the inside out. And that's what we see. That's what we have. Because we got to go through and address these issues, address the fact that the men ain't men, you know. Now, also, because of the damage, we also have to address the fallacies within the women. The women can't raise the men. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. They can't raise them because it's just not possible. You could give them certain characteristics. You can give them certain understandings, but you can't manifest it for them. That's what a problem is. You could teach a boy manly things, but you can't show it to him in action. As a woman, you can't. You can't show it to him in action. You can't even show him how to pee in the pot. How you gonna show him how to pee in the pot when you potty? You know what I'm saying? Let's just be honest. It's like, a woman can raise a man. You can't even show him how to pee in the pot. Not by your example. I know they got toys and stuff, urinators and all that, but that's almost like abominations and all that. That's when you're going outside of nature, you know. And that, it's a it's a lot of meat on that bone. No pun intended. But we just gotta analyze ourselves, man, and put a difference between the Kadash and the profane. That's what this whole thing with Saul and with you know King David and with Jonathan. We see Jonathan and David, their mindsets. And we see the mindset of a Saul, which is selfishness, you know. And nothing can come from that. Nothing good can come from I, me. And then when it's any kind of accountability to be had, any kind of blame to be had, it's you, them. Hey, you. Did you do it? No, it was them. With me, not me. I'm me. I'm me. Shout out to my Ak E. She says that I'm under the understanding that there is only liberation within the Christ mind, and Elder Paul taught the same understanding when he stated that there is neither Greek nor Jew, male nor female, etc. All hands on deck for this liberation. That primarily how I see it, though. Thanks for the invite, Ak. All right. I can agree with that, right? But somebody's got to be out front, right? Somebody's got to be out front. And historically, scripturally, it's always been on the men out front. If it's a robber in the house, I get it. I get it. It's in all ways we'll say, well, if it's a rob in the house, me and my wife got guns. We gonna both have guns. We gonna both go check and all that. That's some mindset. That's not my mindset particularly. My mindset is I'm gonna go see first. I'm not gonna send my wife. I'm not gonna ask her to go with me. I'm gonna go see. Now, if something should happen to me, I should want her to be prepared enough to handle what gets past me. But I don't want her meeting the battle with me. This is the same kind of mindset I'm speaking of. Now, the quote unquote Christ mindset, um, to me, that mindset is the death of a sinful self unto the resurrection of righteousness into righteousness. Now I agree. Paul said there is no Jew nor Greek. He also said, which a lot of people don't put in there, he also said there's no male and no female, which he did. The Ak did. He said that there is no male nor female, but many others, when trying to say ain't no Jews no more, everybody's a child of God and all this, they don't get into the part about the no male or female. So what he's saying is that all are called to righteousness. All are called to righteousness. I'm not saying the men only need to be righteous. The women got to be righteous too. What I'm saying is that the women in their nature would naturally follow the man's lead if the man actually led in something. We see women that follow after man's lead, even if the man's lead is wrong. We see women going into prostitution because a man said it, selling drugs because a man said it, killing, robbing, stealing because a man said it. We see that. What I'm saying is that the man, by and large, has been deteriorated to such a degree that they aren't leading in the righteous ways and the righteous paths. So there's that. So anyway, shout out to everybody joining in. You didn't interrupt nothing. I just wanted to give my um uh spiel, if you will, on that. But shout out to you for even attending. So let's get back to it. Jonathan is saying, nor do I desire you, Father, to spare me death. No, nor do I desire you, Father, to spare me. Death will be to me very acceptable when it proceeds from thy piety and after thy glorious victory. For it is the greatest consolation to me that I leave the Hebrews victorious over the Philistines. Hereupon all the people were very sorry and greatly afflicted for Jonathan, and they swear that they would not overlook Jonathan and see him die, who was the author of their victory, by which means they snatched him out of the danger he was in from his father's curse, while they made their prayers to the Most High also for the young man, that he would remit his sin. So Saul, having slain about 60,000 of the enemy, returned home to his own city and reigned happily. And he also fought against the neighboring nations and subdued the Ammonites and the Moabites and Philistines and Edomites and Amalekites and also the king of Zobah. He had 3 male children, Jonathan and Esui and Melchishua, with Marab and Michal, his daughters. He had also Abner, his uncle's son, for the captain of his host. That uncle's name was Ner. Now Ner and Kish, the father of Saul, were brothers. Saul had also a great many chariots and horsemen, and against whomsoever he made war, he returned conqueror and advanced the affairs of the Hebrews to a great degree of success and prosperity, and made them superior to other nations. And he made such of the young men as were remarkable for tallness and comeliness, the guards of his body. Chapter 7, Saul's war with the Amalekites and conquest of them. I don't know how much of this I'm going to read. Let me see where I'm at on time. Only an hour, 46 minutes. All right, let's get it. Let's get it. Now Samuel came unto Saul and said to him that he was sent by the Most High to put him in mind that the Most High had preferred him before all others and ordained him king, that he therefore ought to be obedient to him and to submit to his authority, as considering that though he had the dominion over the other tribes, yet that the Most High had the dominion over him and over all things. That accordingly, the Most High said to him that because the Amalekites did the Hebrews a great deal of mischief while they were in the wilderness, and when upon their coming out of Egypt, they were making their way to that country which is now their own, I enjoin thee to punish the Amalekites by making war upon them, and when thou hast subdued them, to leave none of them alive, and to pursue them through every age, and to slay them, beginning with the women and the infants, and to require this as a punishment to be inflicted upon them for the mischief they did to our forefathers, to spare nothing, neither asses nor other beasts, nor to reserve any of them for your own advantage and possession, but to devote them universally to the Most High, and in obedience to the commands of Moses, to blot out the name of Amalek entirely. Do you see the instructions? Do you see the instructions? He didn't leave no kind of but if this, then that. No kind of but ifs. No maybe kind of sortas. Said, kill everything. Men, women, and children. And beasts. Listen, to spare nothing, neither asses nor other beasts. Kill everything over there that breathes, basically. That's what was told. Let's see what happened. So Saul promised to do what he was commanded, and supposing that his obedience to the Most High would be shown, not only in making war against the Amalekites, but more fully in the readiness and quickness of his proceedings, he made no delay, but immediately gathered together all his forces. And when he had numbered them in Gilgal, he found them to be about 400,000 of the Israelites, besides the tribe of Judah. For the tribe contained by itself 30,000. So he got 430,000 soldiers. Now, let's look at this. Now, for those of you that know Saul's story, you know what's going to happen with this. But let's look at how he started. He started willing and wanting to obey the Most High. He heard the instructions. He said, I got it. Not only do I got it right now. I'm going to get started immediately. How many of us have that mind? When we hear something about the Most High, when we hear about anything concerning it, we say, we got it, we own it, we with it. Watch how it changes. Watch how it changes. At one point, listen, it said he promised to do what he was commanded. And supposing that his obedience to the Most High would be shown, he's looking to make amends. I messed up. I know I messed up. I don't even know if he's even conscious of messing up, but he's wanting to at least in this make a good showing. I want to make a good showing. I want to show I'm obedient. This is when your wants and desires have to coincide with the instructions you're given, and it has to endure. Okay? You got to keep that. You got to keep that mind. You know what they said today? Keep that same energy. That's what we got to do. We got to keep that same energy, brethren. Accordingly, Saul made an eruption into the country of the Amalekites and set many men in several parties in ambush at the river, that so he might not only do them a mischief by fighting, but might fall upon them unexpectedly in the ways, and might thereby compass them round about and kill them. This is something else. This man ain't the king for no reason. I think a lot of time we hear about Saul, what happened with him, and then hear about King David, and we just dismiss Saul like he was just nothing, right? This man was on point. This man had a military mind that was exactly what his job called for. That's why the Most High chose him. This is a man that's gonna operate how I need him to operate. And he did in his office of like moving. He moved militarily how he wasn't told what plan to do. He constructed this out of his knowledge, and it was well. He won this war. So a person's position don't mean they gonna endure. Just cause your moray is your moray, he probably your moray for a reason. The man got knowledge, the man got intellect. That don't mean he's gonna endure. We know of people in this walk. They got power, got position. That at one time they was upright and righteous. But now it's like, I don't know that brother no more. I don't know that sister no more. They didn't kind of fell off. This happens. So don't be fooled by the fact, like a King Saul, that he operated this army of efficiently and effectively. Don't be fooled by that. His inner man is off. His inner man is off. The man is deteriorated into desolation. Let's be mindful of not to be just pointing the finger at others, but just to be mindful that man is fallible. Man will fall, man will fail. Let's pray for our brothers to continue and to be as they should be, but let's be mindful that they can fall. Let's not put trust in man. You put trust in man, you end up disappointed. Let's put trust in the Most High, yeah, because he's the one who's upright. He's the one who's righteous. He's the one that won't fail you, won't lie, won't in any ways be less than what he's always been. He said he's the same before, the same now, and the same forevermore. With man, it is not so. People have good days where they on point, and they have bad days where they all the way off. Don't be holding people up high and mighty. My pastor would never. My moray would never. Well, it depends. I'm trying to tell you, it depends, brethren. All right, according to Saul, made an interruption into the country of the Amalekites and set many men in several parties in ambush at the river. That so he might not only do them mischief by open fighting, but might fall upon them unexpectedly in the ways, and might thereby compass them round about and kill them. And when he had joined battle with the enemy, he beat them. He on point. And pursuing them as they fled, he destroyed them all. And when that undertaking has succeeded according to the Most High had foretold, he set upon the cities of the Amalekites and besieged them and took them by force, partly by warlike machines, partly by mines dug underground, and partly by building walls on the outside. Some they starved out with famine, and some they gained by other methods. And after all, he betook himself to slay the women and children, and thought he did not act therein either barbarously or inhumanely. First, because they were enemies whom he thus treated, and in the next place, because it was done by the command of the Most High, whom it was dangerous not to obey. You see how he following instructions. He doing good. He's winning the war. He's having things where, okay, I can't kill them all like this. Now I got to go kill them like that. I can't do it like this. I got to do it like that. He's innovating. He's moving and grooving. It's all positive and great. Let's read on. Look, he also took Agag, the enemy's king, captive. Was he supposed to take captives? You see how it start? You see how it start? This is a power move. This is selfishness right here. I'm going to kill all the women and children, but I'm going to take the king captive for a show. Listen, he took Agag, the enemy's king, captive. The beauty and tallness of Hugh's body he admired so much that he thought him worthy of preservation. What? He just said, because it is, what he said, because it is done by the command of the Most High, whom it is dangerous not to obey. So now you're going to obey him because the man tall, handsome, and beautiful. What is you? What is you got some kind of, some kind of wild type tendencies or so? What is going on with you? He was a giant, right? He said, man, this man, I can't kill this man. Get sidetracked by shiny things. We get sidetracked by things that are well pleasing. That's what happened to Eve with the fruit. It says she took the fruit, saw that it was pleasing to the eye and good to eat. All the instructions she'd been given. She knew the instructions. She told the serpent, hey, he said, not only should we not touch it, why are you touching it? But it said, not only should we not eat it, told us don't eat it. It said, not only should we not eat it, don't even touch it, but you're touching it, you're beholding it, you're seeing it's pleasing to the eye. This is what happening to him. He's seeing it's pleasing to the eye. So he forgets all the instructions. We can't be like this. We got to cleave to the instructions of our Creator to the end. Don't let no hardship and don't let no damn prosperity cause you to forget what you done been told. Yet was not this done, however, according to the will of the Most High. Yet was not this done, however, according to the will of the Most High. You know why? Because he done gave his instructions. He ain't going to change it in the middle of the battle. Before going to the battle, he said, kill everything. You think in the middle of the battle, he's going to say, you know what? It's a handsome man right there. I created him. He's handsome. Don't kill him. He ain't going back on his word. But by giving way to human passions and suffering himself to be moved with an unseasonable commiseration. Unseasonable commiseration. Really unseemly. Hey, it's unseemly that you're thinking like this. It's really quite unbecoming. In a point where it was not safe for him to indulge it. It's not safe because it's against what he told you. Now you go fight somebody else and he ain't told you to kill everybody. You can save that king if you want to. In this matter, I said kill everything. But see, I kind of just want to see, my heart is telling me, he's God's creation. And I don't want to kill God's creation, his beautiful creation. This how we hype ourselves up to be contrary. We come find these good reasonings. And I'm here to tell you, the scripture's here to tell you this day, ain't no good reason. In a point where it was not safe for him to indulge it. For the Most High hated the nation of the Amalekites to such a degree that he commanded Saul to have no pity on even those infants, which we by nature chiefly compassionate. He said, listen, most of the times we'll spare the infant. If we don't spare nobody else, we'll spare the women and children. Even today, that's what they said. We don't touch women and children now. You do whatever to the men, to the grown folks. They old enough to pay for it, but the women and children we don't do. The Most High, in such a fury against these people, said, man, kill everything, everybody. But Saul, for some reason, you didn't get this kind of, ain't never got this kind of decree in any of the other battles he didn't fought. Get this decree now and follows it to a point. He didn't kill women and children. This is supposed to be the hard, killing the women and children is supposed to be the hard part. It's supposed to be the thing that, man, I don't really want to do it, but I'm gonna do it because the Most High said do it. Kind of heavy-hearted in a little bit when you do it. It's he did that with no problem. He did that like, listen, you gotta die today. You know what I'm saying? When it came to this king, though, now he got selfish. Now he concerned with his own wants and his own desires. He didn't got the Most High, y'all. You see this? If anybody would have failed today, you might have failed at the part about the women and children. You might have been like, yeah, I kill all the men, I kill the king, I kill the animals. But the babies, you might even kill the women. But the babies, you'd be like, man, the babies though. And we'd reason with ourselves today. We'd reason and say, maybe I bring them up in my house. Maybe I bring them up to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. You know, we make all kind of silly reasons against what we was told to do because we don't feel like doing. And this got to be the mind. It don't matter how hard it is, how rough it is. We got to be ready to do what needs to be done because it was said to be that it needed to be done by the Creator, not by man, not by nobody, because He said it. Or if man said it, it's because he heard it from the Most High. You know, that's what Samuel was. He was the one that brought forth the word that the Most High said do, because the Most High ain't talking with everybody, ain't telling everybody everything. He only dealing with certain ones, as always. But I don't see why these people feel like Yahushua HaMashiach is so out of place. I talk to the Most High myself. Where you got precedence of that at? Even King David didn't talk to him himself. He went through a prophet. And these people want to act like Yahushua. I don't need no middle man. You always needed one. What do you mean? Even the Malachim are middlemen. Ain't nobody. Man, I'm okay. Let me calm down. Cause I get passionate about this stuff, man. Cause people just be disrespecting the Most High. They be disrespecting His Son, disrespecting what He done and everything. And it's like, man, it's really grievous to you, brother. But let's get back on point. Uh he commanded Saul to have no pity on even those infants, which we by nature chiefly compassionate. But Saul preserved their king and governor from the miseries which the Hebrews brought on the people, as if he preferred the fine appearance of the enemy to the memory of what the Most High had sent him about. And the multitude were also guilty, together with Saul, for they spared the herds and the flocks and took them for a prey when the Most High had commanded they should not spare them. They also carried off with them. See, you see how the wickedness comes from the top? They had been killing everything up until Saul spared this king. So now Saul done spared the king. So now the multitude were also guilty together with Saul, for they spared the herds and the flocks and took for a prey. They're supposed to have been killing everything. But why they gonna kill everything when Saul ain't doing what he's supposed to be doing? Ask yourself in these assemblies, when you got these wicked members, what is the leaders doing? Are the leaders aware of this wickedness? Are they checking the wicked? You see what I'm saying? The leader is supposed to be the standard. And don't take these positions if you're not going to hold them down and hold them down right. It's in your authority to hold these things like you are now this might sound kind of blasphemous, but it's real. These Catholic priests say they are Yah incarnate. Well, no, that they are Hamashiach incarnate or Yah incarnate, the Holy Spirit incarnate. They are acting. They are the fleshly acting of the Most High, which is some bullcrap. They're not really. A lot of them is the acting incarnate of Hasatan, really. But us and our rulership are to have the character. We are told to have the characteristics of Yah. All these things about the fruits of the Spirit, those are Yah's characteristics. Where do you think they come from? Where do you think the meekness, the humbleness, the love, long suffering, where do you think they come from? They come from Yah. We're supposed to have it, right? We're supposed to be just judges, rightly dividing the word, rightly dividing, rights and wrongs, putting the difference between the Kodash and the profane. That is what your leader's supposed to be. He's supposed to rightly rule, rightly judge between one another, between assembly members, judging against assembly members. He's supposed to do it rightly, uprightly, just like King David was after Yah's own heart. Your moray is supposed to be after Yah's own heart. Your pastor is supposed to be after Yah's own heart. We're supposed to be his manifestation like the Catholics, act like they're supposed to be. We're supposed to really be it. The problem comes into play when you see the wickedness in man, and you say, well, that ain't, they shouldn't have that. But no, they shouldn't have the authority if they're not rightly doing it, right? But to a man that's holding his office rightly, oh yeah, he got the authority to tell you a whole bunch of stuff. The apostles did, because they was upright, they was righteous. Now, this is righteousness according to the book, not according to people's opinion, because people can be bought and paid for. Because you get to sit with me at the table. I invite you over for dinner. Now everything I do, you're gonna be pleased with because we friends. No, it ain't supposed to be because we friends. It's supposed to be because you line up with what this book say. And I could go into the book and I could see where you this and where you that. You know, that's why we're not called to take bribes. That's that's a bribe. I let you come eat at my house. Now every decision I make, you going back just cause we on some kind of accord, regardless if it's righteous or not, regardless of if, you know, scripture say so or not. You go, you with it cause you don't want to hurt my feelings, or we on some kind of good accord. No, man. We supposed to judge righteously. That make us wicked judges. That put us in Saul's position, doing what we want to do because of how we feel. Let's be mindful. Let's be mindful of this, brethren. All right. The multitude were also guilty together with Saul, for they spared the herds and the flocks and took them for a prey. When the Most High had commanded they should not spare them, they also carried off with them the rest of their wealth and riches. And if there were anything that was not worthy of regard, they destroyed. But when Saul had conquered all these Amalekites and reached from Pelusium of Egypt to the Red Sea, he laid waste all the rest of the enemy's country. But for the nation of the Shechemites, he did not touch them, although they dwelt in the very middle of the country of Midian. For before the battle, he had sent to them and charged them to depart thence, lest they should be partakers of the miseries of the Amalekites. For he had a just occasion for saving them, since they were the kindred of Raguel, Moses' father-in-law. Hereupon Saul returned home with joy for the glorious things he had done, and for the conquest of his enemies, as though he had not neglected anything that the prophet had enjoined him to do when he was going to make war with the Amalekites, and as though he had exactly observed all that ought to have done, all he ought to have done. This is what the Most High said in Isaiah. I want to say, is it Isaiah 58 or something like that, where he said, cry loud and spare not. He said the people fasting and doing all this stuff as if they are this like righteous nation. I'm paraphrasing. As if they do things uprightly, as if they truly seek the one who created them. That's what Saul is doing, moving as if he didn't follow the instructions, as if he upright, doing all these things. Like, no, you have not. You have not done. You have not done rightly. And this is a very, very dangerous thing as well. Being unmindful, being irreverent, right? Irreverent and godless is pretty much the same word, because the irreverence is supposed to be to, quote unquote, what you would call God, which I call the Most High, right? Your reverence is supposed to be to Him. So if you're irreverent, then you would naturally be, quote unquote, godless, right? So Saul is tripping, right? And he thinking everything's sweet. He done won the battle. See, this is where prosperity can cause confusion. You think cause that person got 1,000 members, or they got, a congregation in every state, they got congregations in other countries, you think they blessed, quote unquote blessed, right? You think they blessed. You think the Most High is with them. That's what Saul would think. I'm blessed. I didn't won. I didn't beat all these people. I didn't conquer. I did everything I was supposed to do. But in my dealings, I didn't been disobedient. You don't know I've been disobedient. You just know I won the war. Same thing with some of these assemblies we got out here. We think they blessed because things are going well for them. But you don't know in their private lives they've been disobedient. And destruction is coming. See? So we got to be mindful of not trusting in man and not believing that such a thing is so far from happening. That's why we said, far be it. Far be it from us to transgress. Far be it from us to be like King Saul, to have his mindset. Right? But it's possible if we don't endure. That's why I say he who endures to the end shall be saved. Endure what? Enduring in righteousness. Not just keeping your life, but maintaining a righteous life. Not giving in and giving up because times get hard, because you lost this or lost that. No, enduring. Not being like Saul and being enduring for a time and then falling. Right? And giving ourselves over to vain delusion. There was a vain delusion that man had. That lying spirit told that man, hey, listen, you should keep him. You should keep this king. He handsome, he tall, man. Ain't nobody else like him in the land. Why would you destroy such a thing? And he just, yeah, you right. I ain't gonna do it. I'm gonna keep him. And he think everything is sweet. Everything is all is well. No. It says, but the Most High was grieved that the king of the Amalekites was preserved alive, and that the multitude had seized on the cattle for a prey, because these things were done without his permission. For he thought it an intolerable thing that they should conquer and overcome their enemies by that power which he gave them, and then that he himself should be so grossly despised and disobeyed by them that a mere man that was a king would not bear it. He said, man, these people done came up because of me, and they ain't gonna listen to me. This is why you don't want to play around with the Most High. This is why you want to follow instructions. Because if he has in any way aided you and helped you, this is also why it says it would be better that you had not been born than to know of the truth of the Most High Yah, to have tasted of his esteem and to turn. This is why you don't want to not endure. Because it's going to be worse for you. He said, listen, let's read this thing again. Let's just read it again, because it's very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. But the Most High was grieved that the king of the Amalekites was preserved alive, and that the multitude had seized on the cattle for a prey, because these things were done without his permission. For he thought it an intolerable thing that they should conquer and overcome their enemies by that power which he gave them, and then that he himself be so grossly despised and disobeyed by them that a mere man that was a king would not bear it. He therefore told Samuel the prophet that he repented that he had made Saul king, while he did nothing that he had commanded him, and indulged in his own inclinations. Ask yourself, are you indulging in your own inclination? Did he tell you to do it? Are you doing it like he said do it? There's some feast days coming up. Hey, they coming. They definitely coming. How did he say do them? That's all I'm going to say. How did he say do them? Go back and read. Go back and study it. Go back and look it up. How did he say? Look at the instructions. Look at the instructions. Are you doing it like that? That's all. I'm not here to tell you if you are or if you ain't. Ask yourself. He said, did nothing that he commanded him, but indulged in his own inclinations. He did partly. See, this is the thing. What we said. See, I know we can't do it all. We just practice it. He did some as well. He did some too, but it didn't go over well. It didn't go over well, brethren. It didn't go over well. Doing part of it didn't work. Let's find out how it worked out for him. When Samuel heard that, he was in confusion. He began to beseech the Most High all that night to be reconciled to Saul. You see the intercessor? You see the intercessor. This is the same thing Moses did when he was to understand that the people was up against a grave judgment. He interceded. He prayed for them, right? That's what the intercessor do. They try to reconcile two parties together, right? And not to be angry with him. But he did not grant that forgiveness to Saul, which the prophet asked for, as not deeming it a fit thing to grant forgiveness of sins at his entreaties. He said, this type of thing I can't forgive. Some things he can forgive, not that. Right? Since injury, ask yourself, is your sin forgivable? See, that's why you don't want to be thinking you got this grace all the time. You got this, you got this kindness all the time, because you might have done something that ain't no turning back from. You might have done something ain't no turning back from. Sins at his entreaties. Since injuries do not otherwise grow so great as by the easy tempers of those that are injured, or while they hunt after the glory of being thought gentle and good-natured, before they are aware, they produce other sin. Oh, that thing right there. I need to read that again. Since injuries do not otherwise grow so great as by the easy tempers of those that are injured. Injuries do not grow so great as by the easy tempers of those that are injured, or while they hunt after the glory of being thought gentle and good natured, before they are aware, they produce other sins. As soon, therefore, as the Most High had rejected the intercession of the prophet, and it plainly appeared he would not change his mind, at break of day, Samuel came to Saul at Gilgal. Ooh-wee. He probably feeling good. Not Samuel, Saul. Saul is probably feeling like, man, all is well. I done won. It's party, party, party. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, he don't realize the man been fighting all night in the spirit for his soul and lost. And then he coming to tell him he lost. Ooh-wee. When the king saw him, he ran to him and embraced him. Hey, he happy, he feeling himself. Embraced him and said, I return thanks to the Most High, who had given me the victory. Look, that's how we be talking. All praises, all praise. Whole time we contrary. Whole time we contrary to the man. We ain't living right. We ain't doing right. That man said, I return thanks to the Most High, who had given me the victory. For I have performed everything that he had commanded me. And we get ignorant. We think we done did right when we know we done wrong. Or, in Saul's case, he might not know. He might not be conscious, which is dangerous. We ain't even conscious of how much wrongdoing we do. To which Samuel replied, how is it then that I hear the bleating of the sheep and the lowing of the greater cattle in the camp? You see the wisdom of them? Now, a lot of us might have been declined to say, no, you ain't. You've been tripping. He wants to show him immediately, without saying he ain't. He wants to show him immediately how you ain't done what he said. How, if you done what he said, he told you to kill all the sheep. How do I hear the bleating of sheep and cattle in the camp? Listen to Saul. Saul made answer that the people had reserved them, always blaming folks. The people did it. The people did it. And they got a good reason. It's all for the Most High. They disobeyed the Most High for the Most High. Listen, that the people had reserved them for sacrifices. Who they going to sacrifice them to? The Most High, right? Had reserved them for sacrifices. But that as to the nation of the Amalekites, it was entirely destroyed. We killed the Amalekites like he wanted. We only kept the animals so we could sacrifice them to him, which he didn't ask for. Like he said, I have not desired sacrifice, I desire obedience. That's what we said. We gonna observe these feasts out of sacrifice. We're gonna sacrifice. We're gonna take time, we're gonna take off work, and we're gonna, buy all the necessities to do it. And we're gonna offer it to him as a thanks. And it'll be counted unto us as a righteousness. You know what he said? I didn't desire that. I desire obedience. I'm just saying. Was entirely destroyed. He had received it in a command to see done, and that no man was left, but that he had saved alive the king alone and brought him to him, concerning whom he said they would advise together what should be done. This is what the man said. He said, listen, I saved the king so you could tell me what to do. I brought the king to you. What do you think? This is the ignorance of it. The king's supposed to die. You didn't kill him. You said, I'm going to save him. And to appease the man that's coming to bring you judgment on what you done, you say, I brought him to you. I would have told you what the Most High said. Kill him. Think you doing me no service? They think they do Elohim a service. We can't be of that mind to think we do Elohim a service and we really doing them a grave injustice. We really doing them a grave judgment. And this what Saul did. Grave misjudgment as he done. It said they would advise together. It said we gonna advise together what we got. I saved them so we could kind of figure out what to do with it. That's crazy, man. But the prophet said the Most High is not delighted with sacrifices, but with good and with righteous men who are such as follow his will and his laws and never think anything is well done by them, but when they do it as the Most High had commanded them. Basically, the Most High saying, I want people that do what I say. He said, my mama, my daddy, my grandma, they was good people. According to who? According to who? Did they do what the Most High said? You say, I'm a good person. I care. I do this. I do. Do you do what he said? In full. Because Saul killed the Amalekites. He just didn't kill the last one. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure they killed some of them animals. They didn't kill all of them. See, it ain't about doing some of what he said. It's about doing all of what he said. Right? Now, we're going to have to read that verse again because that thing is heavy. You know what I'm talking about? Somebody need to copy paste this. We need to put that on. You need to put that on a sticky note or something for you. It said, the Most High is not delighted with sacrifices, but with good and with righteous men who are such as follow his will and his laws and never think anything is well done by them, but when they do it as the Most High had commanded. So listen, you shouldn't think you shouldn't think you did nothing that's outside of what the Most High said to do. Nothing good. Hey, I'm gonna do this. I ain't did it like you said, but I did it. What? You shouldn't think it good. and never think that anything is well done by them, but when they do it as the Most High had commanded them, that he then looks upon himself as affronted. Not when anyone does not sacrifice, but when anyone appears to be disobedient to him. That's what you should have been looking for. Not about, hey, we're going to save some of these animals to sacrifice to him. No. He's not looking for you to do no sacrifice to him. He's looking for you to kill him like he said. This thing heavy, this book. This thing heavy. I didn't even know. I had listened to this on audio at work, so I didn't really grasp every word that was said because I was working and I was doing stuff. I was talking to people. But man, this thing is heavy, heavy. But that from those who do not obey him, nor pay him that duty which is the alone true and acceptable worship. You know what your duty is? You know what's the acceptable thing to him? Is obedience. That's better than anything you could do, is obedience to what he said. Not about what you thought to do, but what he told you to do is what he wants. It's gonna bounce off a lot of people, but I hope somebody catch it. You gotta catch that thing. You gotta catch that thing like it's the last down, and they up by 5. You know what I'm saying? You gotta catch that thing and go to touchdown with it. You need that. You got 10 seconds left. But from those who do not obey him nor pay him that duty which is the alone true and acceptable worship, he will not kindly accept the oblations. That's Isaiah 1, what he told you. Be those they offer so many as so fat, and be the presents they make him over and ever so ornamental. He said, listen, I don't care if you done brought the best calf, if you done bought the best lamb, if you done bought the best sacrifice, I don't care if you spent $10,000 on that tabernacle tent at your feast of Sukkot. You ain't did what I told you to do. Man, listen. Because some of you go and do all this stuff. You make all this stuff about feasts. You know, you spend all this money in hotel rooms, traveling for your brethren, all that. That's beautiful. You know, it's beautiful for brethren to dwell together in unity. But calling it what you're calling it, that's where you're messing up at. Ain't nothing wrong with you coming together, being together. But when you come together, being together, calling it the instructions, when it's not the instructions, you kind of, you acting like Saul here. And he's saying, right here, he said, be those they offer ever so many and so fat. That's, hey, listen, it don't care how much money you spent, how much you done. And be the presents they make him ever so ornamental. He said, nay, no. Though they were made of gold and silver themselves, but he will reject them and esteem them as instances of wickedness and not of piety. Hey, man, that's why I say I don't do it. I don't do it. Because I don't want to think I'm giving the man a gift and he's seeing it as a reproach. This, look, before I ever read this, I said this. And here it is. Saul, through Saul in Josephus' account, is telling us exactly how he see us offering things that he didn't command us to offer in ways he didn't tell us to offer them. He's saying, though they were made of gold and silver themselves, he will reject them and esteem them instances of wickedness and not of piety. You gonna think it's righteous. He gonna say it's wicked. This ain't Brandon talking. Ain't Brandon talking. This is the book talking to you. Now, the book talking to you. And that he is delighted with those. He is delighted with those that still bear in mind this one thing and this only. How to do that whatsoever it be, which the Most High pronounces or commands for them to do, and to choose rather to die than to transgress any of those commands. Nor does he require so much as a sacrifice from them. He just wants you to do what he said. That's what he esteems. That's what he calls a righteousness. That you do what he said, how he said, when he said. Not the sacrifice. I have required not. And people want to say, that means you can't eat meat. When he say he desired sacrifice. See, brother, that means you can't eat meat because he don't want sacrifices. No. That means he don't want you going outside of what he said do. And there's people thinking they righteous because they're not eating meat. So did I tell you not to eat meat? I told you to be upright, to be righteous. I told you to do a thing like this and do a thing like that. Is that what you did? Or did you do it your own way? That thing's heavy. That thing, ooh, somebody done got mad and clicked off the podcast right now. Somebody don't want to hear that thing. Somebody said, nah, boo, I can't hear you. Listen, they covering up their earlobes now. They have ears, but hear not. They don't want to listen. They got to take that thing. Take that with you. You know what I'm talking about? Take that with you. Pack a to-go plate with that one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got to read that over again just because. And that he is delighted with those that still bear in mind this one thing and this thing only. How to do that whatsoever it be, which the Most High pronounces or commands for them to do. And to choose rather to die than to transgress any of those commands, nor does he require so much as a sacrifice from them. And when these do sacrifice, though it be a mean oblation, he better accepts of it as the honor of poverty than such oblations as come from the richest men and offer them to him. Yeah. He said, when these do, right, these upright people that follow instructions, right? He said, when these people sacrifice, all right, when these do sacrifice, though it be a mean oblation, this is probably, slack or in some kinds of a way, not pretty. He better accepts of it as the honor of poverty than such oblations as come from the richest men that offer them to him. Your obedience is better than the biggest sacrifice, the biggest offerings, and all of that. Your obedience is the best. And it's honorable. It's honorable like a person that take their last and offer it up. They ain't got 2 pennies to rub together, but they'll take that 1 penny they do got and they'll offer it to the Most High in the offering in which he said. He said, offer to me like this. They'll take the little bit they got just to obey his commands. Is that what you do? Do you follow his commands at all costs? This is the type of a person he counts to be righteous. Wherefore, take notice that thou art under the wrath of the Most High, for thou hast despised and neglected what he commanded thee. How dost thou then suppose that he will respect a sacrifice out of such things as he hath doomed to destruction? He took it from you. And you went in the trash and got it and said, here you go. He told you, keep the feast in the land. He took the land from you. You said, well, we're going to keep it in another land. That's digging in the trash, brethren. Some people don't want to hear it. I'm going to hear it today. I might lose some listeners, whatever, but, bye. Right? Because this is the context. Now, if you follow the instructions, ain't nothing I can say. You go back to Leviticus 23 and read the instructions. If you follow those instructions to the T, hey, listen, y'all be with you. You know what I'm talking about? That ain't got nothing to do with me. But if you don't, and you still call yourself keeping his instructions, then you, my brother, my sister, are a liar. And it ain't no two ways about it. Granted, you might be mistaken. You might have been taught wrong. You might have had a good heart. But as we see, this good heart, this good mind of doing part but not all is destructive. And that's all. Maybe you've been under the wrong inclination. Maybe you've thought that a good heart and a good mind was enough for you. But as we see with King Saul, it didn't work out. It didn't work out. Now, do what you want to do. Keep on. Feast days coming up. Go ahead, do what you want to do. But if you've read this story and listened to this story today, and you go on and you read instructions and you are not following them completely, then you are guilty and worthy of the same punishment Saul got. Because if he did it to Saul, you got to do it to anybody else that move likewise. And that be upon your own head, not because you ain't been taught better. Shout out to Tony Smith. He said, my members been taught. You know what I'm talking about? You been taught. So anyway, do thou therefore expect that thy kingdom will be taken from thee, and that authority which thou hast abused by such insolent behavior as to neglect that Most High who bestowed it upon thee? Then did Saul confess that he had acted unjustly. Now he got some accountability when it's too late. Don't be accountable when it's too late, brethren. And did not deny that he had sinned, because he had transgressed the injunctions of the prophet, but he said that it was out of fear of the soldiers. See, having a good reason ain't a good reason at all. It had been of a dread and fear of the soldiers that he did not prohibit and restrain them when they seized on the prey. But forgive me, said he, and be merciful to me, for I will be cautious how I offend for the time to come. That's how he said, we ain't gonna do it no more. Well, y'all forbid you be like Saul right here. He ain't got no more. Ain't no more times, buddy. Your judgment is coming. See? You ain't got no more extra men. This ain't Mario Brothers. You die, you out of there. He also entreated the prophet to go back with him that he might offer a thank offering to the Most High. But Samuel went home because he saw that the Most High would not be reconciled to him. I think I'm going to close out 5 and then that'll be it for today, brethren. But then Saul was so desirous to retain Samuel that he took hold of his cloak. And because the vehemence of Samuel's departure made the motion to be violent, the cloak was rent. Upon which the prophet said that after the same manner should the kingdom be rent from him, and that a good and just man should take it. That Most High preserved in what he had decreed about him, that to be mutable and changeable in what is determined, is agreeable to human passions only, but is not agreeable to the divine power. Hereupon Saul said that he had been wicked, but that what was done could not be undone. He therefore desired him to honor him so far that the multitude might see that he would accompany him in worshiping the Most High. So Samuel granted him that favor and went with him and worshiped the Most High. Agag also, the king of the Amalekites, was brought to him. And when the king asked how bitter death was, Samuel said, as thou hast made many of the Hebrew mothers to lament and bewail in the loss of their children, so shalt thou by thy death cause thy mother to lament thee also. Accordingly, he gave order to slay him immediately at Gilgal, and then went away to the city of Ramah. Todah, Todah. All right, that's that. That's that. That thing was heavy. That thing was heavy, heavy. Shalom, Ak, Mike, Mikael, Gabar Sharal. Shout out to Ak Ish. Milka Ma still with us. Shout out to Two by Yahoo still with us. Shout out to Watchman still with us. Yeah, man, that thing was heavy today. That thing was heavy today. We lost some people too, but it's all right. It's all right. Hey, listen, you needed to hear it. But let's be mindful, man. Always follow instructions. You know, follow instructions, the instructions of Yah, right? The instructions given to us in scripture, and follow them in context. Okay? In context. Because you said, well, it did this. It said do this, and I'm gonna do it. Well, it said to do this here and do this there, and to have this person that come from these people when you do this. You know, let's not say I got 6 out of the. I mean, I got 6 out of 7. Can I still do it? No, no. You need 7 out of 7. I'm just saying it's dangerous. It's dangerous to play these games. Uh, I hope y'all enjoyed today. Shout out to everybody out there on Truth Music Radio. That's music with the Z, because the Z is for Zion. If you ain't got the app, okay, although this podcast is on Truth Music Radio, it's really an app for music where you can go and hear a bunch of truth music artists. You know, you can hear truth music artists like my Ak Ish. Matter of fact, I'm gonna pull up some Ak Ish on the closeout here. Uh, I got a mighty big playlist. I gotta scroll down here. Uh, yes, on Truth Music Radio, you can go and hear all the latest truth music. For those of you that don't know what truth music is about truth is is referring to the truth of Scripture, the truth of who the people are, the truth of who the Most High is, the truth of who His Son is, right? And how we ought to live, how we ought to be, how we ought to serve and to worship Him. This would be kind of categorized as a truth podcast, right? Because it's about those same things: who His people are, who He is, and whatnot, right? So go and check it out, man. It's a lot of artists, a lot of people out here. For those of you not in this walk, in this mindset, you might be Christian, you might be Muslim, you might be whoever. You might think you don't have any other music to listen to but the music that's offered to you on radio, right? On BET and MTV and all that. I come to tell you it couldn't be further from the truth. It's a lot of artists out here, a lot of people putting out a lot of dope tunes out here. Now, one of my favorite songs from my is that Die Like Men, you know. Shout out to all the brethren from, Detroit and all that. It's a lot of brews out there. Shout out to Chosen Seed and uh all the other brews I can't really think of that might not be affiliated with Chosen Seed. Just shout out to everybody out there. You know, they're getting it in, all the artists and everything. So yeah, man. If you join in late, you can go back and watch the whole broadcast on the life of an Israelite. You see that there, the life of an Israelite, on YouTube and Facebook. Also, my personal page, Brandon Lewis. You see a picture of me and my family there wearing purple, fringed up, of course. And you know, check out that and many other videos I've done. This ain't the first one. I'll be willing, it ain't the last. You know, uh, it is late. About 11 o'clock. I gotta go take care of some personal business. But yeah, man, all praise to the Most High. Shalom, shalom to the brethren. Up to everybody else. Like I said, I'm closing out with Ak Ish Milkama. Die like men. Until next time, shalom.
It is written in your law, it is said to your gods. If you can't endure until the end, watch you die like men. It is written in your law, it is said to your gods. If you can't endure until the end, watch you die like men. Watch you die like men. Why am I so angry? This main GS system is depressing. After my allegiance to it, I'm not interested. I do my work and go home. I'm at that age where my tolerance isn't long-winded. I go into a complete rage. Cats be like, relax, burn a little sage. Shut up, idiot. When the smoke clears, we all still slaves here. We're the 99th percentile, both the Jew and the Gentile. It's a journey to the grave, single file. There's a percent left that's trying to escape death. They uses every breath to plot and had this planet to themselves. And guess what you want? Not a total complete overhaul. You rather be that brand new 1%. Heck is wrong with y'all. I've read the book of James, the woe that comes a must. Due to capitalism, chapter 5, your goal is turn to rust. Weeping how? Being turned to dust. Gon' secure the bag, yep, oppression will make a wise man mad. You gon' die like men. To your gods. If you can't endure until the end, watch you die like men. Watch you die like men. Watch you die like men. It is written in your law, it said to your gods. If you can't endure until the end, watch you die like men. Watch you die like men. Yeah. Watch you die like men. I know what you think. It ain't no way for us to duck and dodge. Akish is something different, dude. He's gonna be a problem. Damn skip. Homie rap is iffy. But I can spit, so I keep a slight advantage on them. I would not submit. It has never crossed my mind to quit. I was chosen to bang it out with tone over the heat he be composing. All the while opposing everything unrighteous I'm supposing. Ain't about to take this sitting down, my door on earth is closing. A quick message to the oppressed, they all hate you. Simply because of who you are. Chill, ain't no breakthrough. Quit trying to join their ranks, the template here is theirs. Either you with them or against them. Bottom line, nobody cares. If everything was equal, the system wouldn't work. It needs an imbalance, therefore it needs your feet to hit the dirt. That's brutal honesty, indiscriminate truth. Somebody gotta break the cycle, time to turn it loose. Come on. To your gods. If you can't endure until the end, watch you die like men. Watch you die like men. Watch you die like men. It is written in your law, it said to your gods. If you can't endure until the end, watch you die like men. Watch you die like men. I yearn to be redeemed from under the curse of it. I'm called a fascist. I'm none of these damn titles, I just hate these social classes. We've been indoctrinated from birth. What is school besides a means to teach they bidden and create that human pool? Bro, I'm cool, but I'm no fool. We in modern times functioning by Babylonian rule. Nimrod's alive and well, ain't he? The mighty hunter. He stalks us all and we'll do anything to ease the hunger. We'll always be amongst you. I wonder why, because the system never changes. People live and people die. They can't hang, they get high. Can't get by without submission. Once this occurs, it's hard to take a breath without permission. What the heck you think they cooking up in Hell's Kitchen? Soup, that's that witchcraft, divination, roots. Oops, I probably said a little bit too much. The best that I should go. Somebody pulled up in the front there at the door. You about to die like men. Lord, say to your gods, if you can't endure until the end, watch you die like men. Watch you die like men. But in the end, you're gonna die like that. It is written in your law, it said to your gods. If you can't endure until the end, watch you die like men. You gon' die like men. You gon' die written in your law and it said to your gods, if you can't endure until the end, watch you die like men. It is written in your law and it said to your gods, if you can't endure until the end, watch you die like men.